Good afternoon. It is indeed a pleasure to welcome you to another one of our coffee chat sessions. And by coffee chat, we mean we have faculty guests with us who will be sharing. And we are delighted today to have Mary Rotundo as our hostess today to get us started off on a session on adding non-graded assessments to help keep your students engaged. And there's a message in the chat for everyone. You are absolutely welcome to put a comment in the chat, and I will be monitoring that. But you are also welcome to raise your hand and let us know that you would like to talk and share. So with that, I am going to turn this over to Mary Rotundo.
Thank you, Miss Judy, and welcome everybody. I'm really pleased for us to be here today on a coffee chat session for our professional development. And as Judy was saying, it's just an open conversation. Please feel free to interact at any point. We do have moments throughout the presentation where we will formally open our microphones. However, at any point, you're welcome to chime in. Especially our wonderful, wonderful guests today. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Rosemary, would you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, bonjour. My name is Rosemary Rayhill, and I'm a senior instructor of French here at Florida Atlantic University, of course. And I'm thrilled to be here and to work with the amazing team at FOSI and to share some ideas and things I have used in some of my particularly fully online French classes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And we also have Tammy Sargente. Tammy, if you would like to introduce yourself as well.
She is still listed as an attendee right now, so Juan will have to unmute her and actually add her to the panelist list.
Okay, so Juan, let me know when you've done that so she can introduce herself. And I am not the only plotter for this presentation. This is actually a long time coming because I've been working real closely with Linnell in creating interactive assessments and objects for many of our courses. And really, it's about problem solving, creating opportunities and allowing our faculty members to explore options for interactive content. And in this particular presentation, we're going to do, like Judy was saying, low stake assessments or even non-graded opportunities. So Linnell has helped, and we have worked together with our faculty in multiple courses. So has Rosemary. She's worked with me multiple times. And Tammy has also shown me some of her amazing work, which she's going to talk about in a little bit. And then lastly, Judy, barista with me, who has been a mentor and who has shared with me tips with regards to her teaching and engaging students.
And Tammy has joined us on the panelist. And so Tammy, you unmute yourself and do your introduction.
Hello, hi, I'm Tammy Sargente. I'm a university instructor for computer science and engineering, and I've developed quite a few courses. And today I'm going to demonstrate a couple of the tools that I use, Studymate and CodeLab, that are integrated into Canvas.
Thank you. So our guests show a range of subject matters where these activities can be incorporated. So we'll be moving from languages to computer programming, which is pretty cool. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so this is a topic of our presentation, interactive assessments to enhance learning. I'm going to be your moderator or your host, and which means I will be your personal barista or concierge. So anything you want to say, please feel free to tell us in the chat or unmute yourselves. You can speak freely and share screen as a panelist. And this is the role Rosemary and Tammy will have. And then for our participants, please, again, feel free to chime in at any time. I'm going to stop sharing my Google slide because I have something really cool that I prepared for today's presentation. Alrighty, so we already have our wonderful guests. And so these are the objectives for today. This is the reason why we're doing this. So we're going to be sharing how to create opportunities for students to explore content in their own learning. So we're going to be talking about this, which is basic for languages. And Judy will also be talking about metacognition. So getting engaged within our own learning process. We're also going to be talking about low-stake options for interactive assessments or non-graded activities and ways to track these student explorations. So multiple tools that integrate with a Canvas gradebook. So again, at any point, if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, and with this, I'm going to give the floor to Linnell. She's going to give us some cool background.
Hi, I'm Linnell Forrest. Thanks, Mary.
Of course.
I work for the Center for Online and Continuing Education as an interactive media specialist. I make assessments, quizzes, more fun and engaging, so that they don't seem like, it seems more like a game than an assessment. Sometimes the word quiz makes people very uncomfortable, but introducing them to an interactive activity is like, it piques their curiosity. And I like it when people lean forward and they start showing you that they're interested. They start participating in something. As Mary has here, she has, picture this, dark lecture hall, dim lights, students sleeping. We know what disengaged students look like. And it's such a big relief to have them actually ask you questions and say, oh, I was actually reading the material and I had some thoughts. So the assessments that I've been building, some of them do require site license, such as Articulate, but not all of them have to do that. We can create low stakes, either self-assessment or just little activities that help bring the ideas, sometimes very challenging ideas, into the long-term memories of our students by creating fun activities for them. We can do that in PowerPoint, and we can do it just with some simple things in Canvas, like what I used to call toggles, but now they're called like the details tab, where it's a click and reveal type of thing. What do you think about such and such? Click, oh, there's the answer. And so what happens is the student they're actually participating in the activity instead of being a passive learner. They're actually participating, and it actually increases their attention span and their did I say retention span? Yes.
So in the online environment, this will translate to students that don't participate, will not complete readings, very little interest in either their own assessments. So it's really a challenge. And learning from our mistakes, exploring, is really a concept that's established in history, and learning, having a mentor, having other students learn and participate in the learning with us. So it doesn't really need to be a complex kind of technology. It's more an environment for exploration. And in this environment, the possibility for failure is really an opportunity for learning. So I want to share with you something that I was talking about with a faculty member last Friday. So we were talking about her students are not reading the content. And then she was asking me, so what are some possibilities? Like, how can we encourage some participation? And so we said, okay, let's have the students post the questions in a discussion board. And then you can say, okay, so these are the mystery questions from these discussions. These concepts will be in the exam. You can give them extra credit so they have the opportunity to improve their grade. And then she says to me, oh, but then they will get an A. And it was like a light bulb turned on. And she says, oh, so they can choose what their grade will be. They will have that opportunity. So it's all about the choices we present to our students. So the choice to have a saying on their own grade, the choice to have a saying on how they want to approach a deliverable or an assignment, and also the choice of participating in a more engaging way. So failure is also a choice in the sense that what happens in a survey when students get the wrong answer and they have the opportunity of seeing, oh, what happens, what is the fact, what is my instructor telling me here. So if I go and check my feedback, immediate rewards, immediate feedback, then I can either resubmit or I can have another attempt at the quiz, at the survey, and I just keep exploring until I get it right. And when I get it right, I get extra points. So also giving our students a reward for the time and the effort they're putting into these explorations. So the concept of failing turns into the concept of having a choice. So we have these opportunities, like I said, self-graded, self-assessment, check-in quizzes throughout the content, the opportunity to choose their grade. And one more thing, if you look at the infographic I created, this was my choice. And you will get a copy of the infographic, and you will also get the name of the resource that I used, which is very simple to use, and it has wonderful templates and graphics. So creating something engaging is a choice. So I had a lot of fun putting this presentation together and moving away from, okay, so I have to do slides or I have to do the quintessential PowerPoint. I decided I'm going to do something pretty and visually engaging. So I am going to go back to my previous slide, which we called the Back to You Cafe. So right now we're going to just pause, and hopefully these have been some intriguing ideas. We're going to give tons of examples and resources. But I wanted to ask right now, what are other ways to make our students want to interact? Any ideas?
Well, certainly if there's a story involved.
Mm-hmm.
We have the ability to create scenario learning where a student can interact with possibilities that are, it's more like a survey where there are no wrong or right answers. It's just, what pathway would you take? Of course, we could go beyond that and have right or wrong situations, showing the consequences of choosing a not so popular or happy scenario. We could show the consequences like that. To be very specific, let's say it's in hospitality, and we show a scenario inside of a kitchen where someone leaves a plate of food under the heat lamp, and it stays there for a very long time, brings it out to give the choice to the learner. Do you bring it up to the guest, or do you make sure that the food is hot? And they make the choice. I'm just going to bring it out to the guest, angry customer. And then you get to see that kind of interaction. What does an angry customer look like? Or, you can have them test both ways and compare them to a positive scenario and not so positive scenario.
Thank you, Linnell.
If I could add to what Linnell was saying, you're really just, what you're doing is you're really promoting critical thinking. You're saying, okay, you have this or this, and whether it's math or whether it's French or whatever, putting the students in a situation, if this happens, then you can do this or this, and then if you do that, then you have to do that. I talk about French like an equation a lot of times too, for the non-math phobic students. They enjoy that as well. But I'm just saying, you give them a choice, and it seems like an easy choice, like that commercial where somebody picks some basketball player to be on their basketball team. I don't remember what commercial it is, but it seems obvious. But I encourage students, I say, just because an answer seems obvious to you doesn't mean you're not using really intelligent thought processes to get to that answer. So even to encourage them, if it seems too easy, it probably isn't too easy. Give yourself a little credit for making a good choice, or giving a reason why you give that choice, being able to justify it.
Sure, for sure.
That's beautiful, Rosemary, and the opportunity. I'm going to turn this on. The opportunity to have choices about what we want to do, how we want to do it, and how we want to share it really, really adds to the feeling of self-esteem.
So if we don't have anybody else right now, I would like to, I think this is a perfect opportunity for Tammy to show her code lab, because I believe students can actually enter wrong pieces of code and have the opportunity to interact with the code. Is that correct, Tammy?
Yes, so I didn't create Code Lab. It's just something that is integrated into Canvas now. So should I share my screen?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I'm sharing my Chrome. You guys can see my Chrome screen. All right, so now I'm sharing my screen. Let me make it a little bigger. All right, so just a little background. In my programming class, I used to use my programming lab, which is, it's also Code Lab. It's made by this company called Turing's Craft, and they do Code Lab. But now in my foundations class, this is another class, I've added it and it's integrated into Canvas. So it's really great. And it is a graded assessment, but it is, and they make not just programming things. I'm not sure exactly what they do, but so they now have integrated completely into Canvas. Oh, I can't demonstrate as a student. Sorry about that. They've integrated completely into Canvas, and I can, and it's automatic grading and everything. So let me just show you what it looks like here. So when the assignments are made, the students have this, this is how it looks like to the students. They have a work area. Let me pick a different question, and they can, so they read the question right here, and then they can type in the code here. So I'll just to make it quick, I have access to the solutions, and I'll explain that in 1 second. But so for example, if the student puts it in here, and you don't really need to know what they're doing here, but the question asks for them to do this, and if they get it incorrect, it gives feedback. It's a working compiler that's going to test it and tell them what's wrong and give them some kind of feedback, and they can continue and try again over and over again. You know, they do it again. I'm purposely making it very wrong, but they do it
Thank
again.
you.
They do it again, and they have unlimited attempts until eventually they get it right. Now, this isn't an old tool. We've been using this for years. I've been using it as an outside source. It's called CodeLab, but they had to log in to a different system and purchase it separately and all of that. And this semester, this is the first time I've tried it integrated, and it's great because I'll show you how to set it up and everything, because it's just automatic grading. So you pick the questions you want to give them, they keep trying, and then eventually they get it right. So then that was correct. And I have the ability to set it so the students can see the solutions. Like I set it so that they get the questions are due on a Tuesday, and then the solutions become available on a Friday. But that's my choice. I don't have to give them the solutions, but if they've been working on it, then, I want them to be able to. Also, there's a lot of different ways to answer the same question in programming. So in this week, this was the first week, I happened to give them only a few questions, but then each module, not every module, but most of the modules, they have a set of questions. So like here, just for this one, I gave them, more questions. So I choose which questions to give them, and I can, if you want, I can demonstrate very quickly how to do that. So the only drawback I found on this is I'm not able to, so I have to have some students give me feedback. Again, this is the first semester I'm integrating it. So I've had to, as a student, I don't have the ability to see what it's like in Canvas as a student using this, because once you integrate it, I'm logged into my account. I guess I could potentially log out of CodeLab, and I could possibly log out of CodeLab but I haven't really tried that. I'm just being honest. So anyway, so I'll show you how to set it up. Once you've set it up, then it's in there, and I can log into CodeLab separately to get all of the statistics on all the students, how many attempts, things that if I wanted to know about the students. But with this integrated, if I say this is worth 4 points, it is automatic graded. So if the students get 100%, they get 4 points. It's percentage. So if they get 75%, they get 75% of 4 points. If they get 50%, they get 2 points. So it's all automatic. So the way that once I've set up CodeLab in my class, then I just go here to external tool, and I did have to have the first time I had to get this. I think it might be available now, but I put in a ticket to have it done. So then I just put it in here. I put my deadline, then I save it. And once I do this, I can probably reuse the questions again, but I like to review everything every semester anyway. So this is module 12, which I believe is going to be, goes along pretty much with, and I had the guys at CodeLab, because I've been working them for a long time, kind of set me up a set of questions that goes along with my content. So then I can just select the questions that I want here. So I can read it and decide, okay, I would like to add that question. I'd like to add that question, whichever questions I want to add, and then I just save it. And I also have the option here to put the solution, the date that I would like the solution to become available for the students. And then then I save it, and then that's assignment is set for the students for that CodeLab. I'm not sure why it's taking so long, but yeah. So now I have this one. I've assigned 3 questions. I mean, I'm going to fix it. But it's the one. This is my live class right now, so I haven't actually published this assignment yet, and I left one so that I could demonstrate for you guys today. Is there any questions? Is that pretty clear? Anything? So in my other class, my C class, I do not use. They do it outside, so they have my lab. It's the same tool. And I just wanted to stress how great it is doing it this way through Canvas. because the way that they do it in this class, the students have to actually log on to my programming lab outside like this. And then I have to load the course, and I have to actually grade myself. So I have to load the course roster, and I mean, it's the same setup to select the questions and all of that. It's the same idea, except it's outside. And so with this way, I have to take the time to go through and give the percentage to the students and assign the points. Which the automatic thing is really great, but it's the same idea. So we have been using this a long time, but I really just want to stress how great it has been to have it integrated. So this is a tool that I'm really happy with this semester.
Mhm.
And we had a comment from Dr. Perkins in the chat saying she wished she'd had Code Lab when she took C++ way back when she
Right, great
experience.
We've been doing it, actually, to be honest, I've been using it in my Intro to C class for many years. I don't even know how many years. And I just started with Foundation. So this is my first semester using it with my C++ class, and I'm very happy with this new integration. So did you want me to show Studymate too, or?
Not yet. Thank you so much, Tammy. Thank you. We'll get back to that because that's another super easy integration with Canvas. I want in a minute. I want to get us to. I'm going to skip a little bit on the presentation because I would like. Rosemary had a comment on the chat about how in Connect, which is another integration with Canvas, students have the same kind of opportunity, right, to progress through the content. But there's also something that Rosemary and I have talked about a lot, which is the sense of students deciding how far they want to get when they learn a language. Learning a language is a very personal choice. So she has in her courses, she has incredible resources where students guess or decide, okay, so this is my level where I am right now, and how will I get to where I want to get? But she'll be able to explain better. Go ahead, Rosemary.
Hello, and also thank you, Tammy, for that. That was really interesting to see how you have that integration where some things are self-grade, automatically graded, and some things you grade. I think having the combination of the two is useful because you can also monitor more how your students are progressing and what maybe the struggles that are reappearing. And that kind of ties into what I was going to talk about. So let me see if I have this here where I want it. Okay, so there are several aspects to this. And when we're learning a foreign language, obviously, you know, it's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of moving backwards and ebb and flow, backwards and forwards until, you know, we've acquired certain things, our foundation is better, and then we can continue on. But everybody coming into any class really comes in with a certain base of knowledge and certain things acquired, certain not that are required for that class or needed in that class. So everybody's going to progress at a different level, on a different scale, and in different areas. And because in language we consider 4 skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking, we can really break it down to how confident do you feel about all of these skills? What do you think your strengths are or your not so strong things are? So I call it self-reflection about skills. So it's basically generally, are you more confident speaking or are you more confident writing? And I have them put them on a scale, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, put them in order. And then I also break it down to specific skills. What are the things you remember how to do that you're really familiar with it? Conjugating regular verbs or your vocabulary or whatever it might be. So getting into really the nitty gritty specific, while at the same time, where it could be applicable in other contexts, is really, you know, what do you feel you know now? What do you want to know? And then tie that into the learning outcomes. And so this is in the beginning of the class. But then I have checkpoints like pit stops. Okay, well, now we're here. I sent you some information, or we met to discuss this or that thing you wanted to clarify. How do you feel now about this? So we have a checkpoint around mid-semester and then at the end of the semester as well. So that's about it. That's me in Paris, by the way.
Amazing.
Thinking
Thank you,
with the
thank you
thinker.
so much. I'm gonna go back to sharing. Perfect. So this is actually I'm going back and forth with my presentation, which is I'm fine with it. I'm actually very happy that this is flowing as a dialogue. And this is a perfect moment for us to have Judy tell us a little bit about strategies for retrieval and what she calls stickiness, how to have things moved to our long-term memory and turned into actual learning. Go ahead, Judy.
Thank you. Yeah, retrieval practice is one of the things that I have discovered relatively recently, but it is based on cognitive science research. And it encompasses 4 really powerful tools to move information from short-term memory into long-term memory. The term retrieval practice itself has to do with the learning that is where we, instead of trying to put information into our students' brains, we pull it out of them. Ask them, stop at various points and ask them to write down what they know, pull everything out, what I lovingly referred to as a brain dump, to see what's in there and have them focus on getting it out. Because when you think about what you've got, what you've listened to and heard, and then write it down, it's going to stick a whole lot better. Spacing is the second one. Space practice spreads lessons and retrieval opportunities out over time so that you're not trying to get it all in at once. The idea of cramming the night before a test is one of the least effective ways, and most of us know what happens if indeed you're able to get it all dumped out there for that exam. As soon as you close the book or walk out of the room or leave the computer, it pretty well disappears. But if you space the learning out, it becomes easier to go into long-term memory. Interleaving is another form of retrieval practice and a tool for learning, for long-term learning. And it mixes related topics together so that you're interweaving new information with information you've already had, similar to scaffolding, so that it's mix up related topics. And then what Mary mentioned earlier about metacognition and the use of feedback-driven metacognition is one of these effective tools. It provides the opportunity for students to think about what they know and what they know that they don't know. And so it gives them the opportunity to think about those things and then reflect on it, and then realize what they need to go back and review. We talked last week about the idea of social emotional learning and the importance of students being able to interact with each other. Those relationships are a key component for social emotional learning. The relationships with the instructor particularly, but with each other as well. And those are all things that help us keep that information, moving it into the frontal lobe so that it will go into long-term memory. And at some point, I don't know if you want it now, Mary, or not, I have some information about neuroplasticity. So.
Thank you, Judy. Maybe at the end, because I do want to have a balance in terms of the pedagogy, but I will also like to show more of the tools that
Yeah.
are either integrated with Canvas or free, no license required. And for that, I'm going to give the floor to Linnell, who has lots of cool, easy to use tools. So Linnell, should I stop sharing or
Want to briefly talk about some things. Later on, what I'll do is I'll provide some links in the PowerPoint presentation that we send out to everybody at the end. So, here we go. Okay, so let's say that we do have scenario-based learning. We can intrigue the audience into leaning forward and actually becoming part of the story a little bit more so by telling them that there's a scavenger hunt involved. So what you can do is you tell them. I think you can refer to this like in the I guess software kind of idea. They have something called Easter eggs that they can hide inside a code and stuff like that. There are things that you can search for, but you wouldn't know to look for them. This is something that you can introduce your students to, and saying that I provided a scenario-based learning story where you can if you can pay attention to the story, but if you just kind of look around in the peripheral parts of the story, you'll find some Easter eggs or some surprising things that might lead to extra credit or letting the instructor know that you were truly paying attention and that you were involved with the whole story. And so that's kind of like a scavenger hunt where you can tell people to look for certain things and bring them back to show the instructor that you were actually paying attention. We also have surveys that can be taken. Now, the reason why I like surveys so much is because they allow students to respond to questions without being penalized. There's no right or wrong answers. And so Canvas has its own version of surveys, and you can put those into your courses quite easily. Also, as I'm exploring more and more about PowerPoint, I've been working with PowerPoint since, I guess, 10 years ago. And that was a time when I got to work with a professor who loved interactive things like Jeopardy, games in PowerPoint. And so there's a whole bunch of templates out there that, including Jeopardy, it's a nice Jeopardy template, click and reveal, flip cards, things like that, that you can easily put into PowerPoint. And students will, just a matter of clicking on things really wakes them up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And having them go through the process increases retention. Especially if there's like an objective at the end. If you answer all these questions, okay, let's say I create a game. In order to get through these 3 rooms, you'll get to the spaceship and you'll be able to answer all these questions to get onto the spaceship and leave. You could create a little story like that. It does perk people's attentions. Let's see what else. Oh, so and as I was exploring more and more about PowerPoints, they're now including 3D models that you can put into your PowerPoints. And I had never played with this before. I just found out about it last week. Forgive me if anybody else is watching, they already know all about this, but it's very exciting. Now, Microsoft PowerPoint allows you to not only to bring in 3D objects into your slides, but they also provide them. So I'll be including that with the links as well.
Yeah. And we only have 5 more minutes, and I would like for Tammy to show her Studymate. Studymate is another tool that has been around for a long time, but it's now, again, fully integrated with Canvas and also very easy to implement. And one more thing, we have our infographic tools like the one I'm using, which is going to go also with the resources. So Tammy, we have a couple minutes. Would you like to share the Studymate? And I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so Studymate is you can put it in your navigation with anything else. It's already in Canvas. So I'm going to go into student view here. So I don't give any points for my Studymate, and I've only used Studymate so far for definitions.
Mhm.
But if you have a course that has a lot of definitions, I still made them as assignments. They are just assignments with no points. So I have key terms and definitions and of the term, and then they can use flashcards and, look at the flashcards whichever way they want to, or they can do crossword puzzles with the words, which is pretty
I love
cool.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, or they can do, they can have just the glossary, which is fine, but it's much more fun to do fill in the blank, matching. So they have all these games, and all I have to do is I just have to set it up one time. I set it up, I put the word, I put the definition, and then it becomes a part of my bank. And then I have a bank in Canvas, for all of my Studymates. I don't know if you wanted me to show you how it's done, or
It's
just
okay. Yeah, no, thank you so much, Tammy. We only have 2 minutes, but
Okay.
I will, if you can provide later a tutorial or let me know and I'll find it.
Yeah, I can make like a PDF and send it to you, like with screenshots. I think that's, or if you want a video, either one, just email me after and let me know.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yeah, Rosemary was saying, and I am a language teacher, so when I see the possibilities of Studymate for vocabulary, it is incredible. Okay, so we are at 2 minutes. I thought this was going to be, apparently we had a lot of information to share. We may have to do part 2 for our interactive tools and thinking about interaction. I just wanted to open the mic for one more interaction from our participants. What would you add to the menu? Any tools, any ideas? Okay, well, maybe we've given you a lot to think about. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be following up with a ton of resources. And then next week, November 8th, we will have these are our coming attractions. So we'll have reflections on our course designs with a quality perspective, more pedagogical reasons why, and a value for the process. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And thanks to all for joining us, and a special thanks and blessings to Tammy and Rosemary. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.